All right, looks like we're live. Hello, folks. Welcome back to yet another Moonshire Monday. Back again. Still have not missed a single one since starting this process, but we're still here. I'm seeing a lot of people in chat already. I'm seeing Rain and Wolf and Veen and Angelo and Saba and Za. Actually, I should probably wait for a few extra seconds so that things kind of propagate for all of the people watching the stream. I still need to get my intro like video segment thing set up so that we can all start at the same time. This isn't the 1 year anniversary. I actually don't know when the 1 year anniversary is. It is probably coming close. But yeah, thanks again to everyone for being here. Bellcat, Pry Watney, Retro Mech, Za, Rain, Allfathers here. Saba, Angelo, thank you again. Really do appreciate that. The plan for today is just working on some little bugs. And to help with that process, I made a brand new website to help with tracking bugs. I'm gonna show it off today. And actually, I'm gonna show it off in a different browser from the one I'm streaming from YouTube, because the last time, it's been crashing. So this is my new bug site. And once the demo gets relaunched and we start working on catching bugs and reporting things and really testing, this site is gonna be super useful. I'm very happy with how everything turned out, and I made it all myself. So you can go to the site right now, by the way, and you can open up a new tab and check it out. But going forward, as I work on my games, anything that I catch or that me and the mods are tracking, we're going to keep it on this website. And it's going to be very easy for us to share this information. And, you know, when people are playing the game and they come across bugs, they can visit the site and see, has anyone had problems with the boomerang? Oh yeah, it looks like there is a problem with the boomerang, and you can play the video and it'll show you exactly what the bug is, which someone reported this on Discord. Any spam prevention? Yeah, so the main thing to prevent spam is that only I can add bugs and only my mods can add bugs. No one else can delete bugs or modify bugs or anything like that. If people want to submit bugs, they're going to have to submit them through Discord or through email or through Twitter or whatever else is going to help people with, you know, documenting things. But basically they're going to message us and then we're going to update the site. So this site is really useful for tracking the state, seeing what bugs are known, because that's a big problem that we've been having, where people are out playing the game and then they'll come across a bug and then they'll wonder, well, do I need to report this? Does he know about this already? And if all of the bugs are documented online on this clear site, it makes things a lot easier to track. And also, to make things even better, you can deep link. So if you add this to the URL, which I'm not showing at the moment, you can deep link to specific bugs. So the next time someone talks about how they're launching on an Intel Mac, I can just send them this URL, which, by the way, here, this is what the URL looks like. And it will take you directly to the bug, which is super nice. It's been challenging just because a lot of people want to help out, they want to report things, but when everyone's reporting the same things, and they don't even know, there's not really a good way for people to realize whether or not something's known. So this is just a nice one-stop shop for everyone. Also, the YouTube browser did crash again. Imagine that. I can't believe it. It's been crashing every single stream. It's a clever idea. Thank you. It's clever, but it is also challenging because there's a lot that goes into making a website like this. Mainly just because, think about where all the data is coming from. Oh my gosh, Allfather coming in with a donation. So today's a little different. Instead of sending a lot, I want to shout out someone in the community because of how much they've been helping me. To Henry672, going to spend the rest of the day's donations on supporting them. That's amazing. That's so good. I'm so glad that you found someone in the community who's helpful, and I really do appreciate the donation. That's amazing. Thank you so much for that, Allfather, and thank you for the really positive message. That's a nice way to look at things, and I'm glad that you were able to find help in the community. I was talking about this site and how one of the challenges is handling like the data and managing all that, because you know, making a website that stores data like this, you have to set up a database, you have to set up APIs so that the website can make calls to the database to retrieve that data. Then you have to worry about security. You have to have things so that only authenticated users can modify or create bugs. You wouldn't want just like anyone to be able to come into the site and make changes, because there's a moderator view, which I'll go ahead and show that too, while I pull that up. You can take a look at. Okay. So the website has like a secret admin moderator view, and this is what the moderators, me and like Wolf, who's helping out with bug tracking, is going to be able to use, because now in the mod view you can create new bugs, which this is what that looks like. You can add the title and details, and you can even upload images and upload videos, and these get uploaded to my own cloud service, and they get served whenever you like the boomerang one. Whenever you click play video, it's going to pull that video from my cloud service and stream it to the website. I'm really proud of like the end-to-end way this all functions, but it is surprising just the level of complexity that it goes into a simple site like this, where it's just a list of things. I wanted to bring a small issue I ran into last week. I was trying to join the Discord, but for some reason the link on your link tree on TikTok wasn't working. Oh, you know what? I should change the link tree. I don't use Linktree anymore. I'm going to be using childcade.com, but in the description of this stream, you should find a link to the Discord. Thank you for calling that out, though. I didn't realize that the link tree was outdated, and I forgot that the TikTok is still linking to the link tree. I'm working on a new landing page, which I can show that off right now, too. Actually, before I show off the landing page, I'm going to show this admin page, because, you know, I was in the middle of speaking on this. That's really convenient. How do you do the jump timing for the sprite and hitbox? Sure, I can talk about that later, or in a little bit. But once a bug is created, it'll show up here, and there is the option to edit the details. So I could change, like, it's gone from fix ready to done, and I save the changes, and then there it is. It's down here in the done section. And this is going to be so helpful, just for keeping track of that stuff. Then the other aspect is that there are archived bugs. So eventually, this page is going to fill up with tons and tons of bugs, and it's going to get, you know, bogged down with all kinds of junk. So one thing that the admins have is you can take one of these, and you can click archive, and that will move it to this archived section. And this archived section just has a bunch of old bugs, or any bugs that like we're choosing not to work on, or anything like that. And from here, there's even more options too, where you can delete a bug, which will just like remove it from the archived and normal list, or you can restore it back to normal, which I think that for this one, I am going to restore it, even though it's back here. Again, this website is live. If you want to go to it, you can try it out and see if the stuff is loading for you. If anyone notices any problems, like with loading the data, or, you know, some of these have videos or images, it would be a problem if like you click a play video and then like nothing showed up. I think that's certainly possible. Excuse me. How do I make the S effects in the game? So the sound effects, a lot of them come from like paid asset packs, so I own a lot of like sound effects that I have the license to, and then normally that's like my starting point, and then I'll do a lot of editing in Audacity, like changing the pitch and the speed and adding a bunch of filters, and it comes into like a whole new sound effect after that. Any reason not to use GitHub issues or something? GitHub issues, you know, let's look into GitHub issues. I remember when I was doing research on all of these different, you know, I think GitHub issues is better for, let's see. Create issues, break them into sub-issues, track project, add custom fields. I mean, this is pretty close to what I'm doing. Break issues into sub-issues. Streamline conversations. So are these all attached to a specific repo? Because if they are, and the other thing is, I want this to be a public-facing site. Does GitHub issues, does this offer like a public site that people can see it like without being authenticated? Also, contact sales, that makes me wonder how much it costs, because since I'm hosting my site myself, it probably is going to come out to be cheaper than if I was paying a company to host it for me. And also, you know, I kind of had fun making my site. This is a little bit, wow. Yeah, I would say the other problem with most bug tracking tools is that they're a little bit overboard. So when I see this list of like features and all these things that you can do with GitHub issues, like it's very cool that they offer all of these options and there's so many things you can do with it. But for me, I just think the simplicity of this is very nice, and it has everything that I need and that the mods need to work with. It's free, but yeah, it's always fun to do it yourself. It's free, man. I will look more into it because I want to make sure that people have the right advice from me. I don't think that people should make their own website for bug tracking, because this was a big endeavor. And the only reason I was able to pull it off was because I have a lot of experience with web development and like cloud service stuff. So I was able to use that experience here. And a pre-made thing, like there's, what are those? There's plenty of options, because me and Wolf were using just like a Google Doc, a Google Sheet. Because that's like a cloud hosted document that anyone can view, but only authenticated users are able to edit it. What kind of backend am I using? For this website, I'm using just my own. It's Azure Functions. So everything's built on Azure, and the API is Azure Functions. The tables, the database is just the Azure Storage tables, and then the Azure Functions communicate with the storage tables to retrieve the data and create the data. I hear that's low maintenance and scalable. Yeah, I would say so. And like I have a lot of experience specifically with Azure, so it's been pretty smooth actually with getting things up and running. And honestly, like now that the site is up and here and working, the hard part is behind me, because I'm pretty happy with the functionality behind this, and I do think that it'll scale pretty nicely. GitHub issues is pretty good, but the simplicity and visual of my website looks better. Thank you. I appreciate that. I also think that if this is free, this probably is a better option for most people. For me specifically, though, I think that is cool that I was able to make my own thing. Is that time investment worth it? Would not existing free solution be better by virtue of allowing you to put the time into that game? Yes, you are completely right. That me spending, because it probably took me 4 days to make everything for this site. Which, honestly, that's not very long, but still, 4 days is 4 days of work that I could have been doing on Moonshire, on development. And instead, I chose to invest it into this, when this is not really getting me closer to, like, you know, re-releasing the demo. So that's a very good call out. And my rationality for doing this is that I just wanted to do something new. I needed a break from developing games. I've been having a lot of fun working on web development stuff. And I have actually more websites that I've been working on recently, all in support of Moonshire and Chalicade stuff, because this is my thing. Making games and doing Chalicade stuff is all that I really care about, and I just want to make content that supports that. But at the same time, like, man, like making the game nonstop and kind of the wheels spinning, not really getting anywhere, it's nice to kind of move into something a little bit different, just to change things up. This counts as Moonshire dev, sort of. I mean, it's like a procrastination development tactic. The highest priority item for me to work on right now is working on the game. Anything that's not that is slightly out of priority, because You know, even me streaming right now, I'm streaming, but this is time that I'm not working on the game, and I really want the game to get to a finished state. So maybe this isn't the right choice, but I'm choosing to do it just because, like, emotionally and for my for my psychological health, it's good to take breaks and to mix things up a little bit. What about Sheepy? I'm not familiar with Sheepy. Oh, the game. Yeah, I don't want to play any games on stream. I think that for my streams, it's better if I stick to my own projects. Dude, start with C or Lua C for knowing pointers. Work Lua easy for easy learning. I think in general, I like to recommend easier language to start with, just because starting off with any skill is really challenging. Programming is hard, and Lua as a language is more approachable compared to something like C, like this person's saying. With C, you have to understand like the strong typing and the pointers and references and the complex class structures and the boilerplate code. There's a lot to it. So being able to start with something simpler to ease yourself into it. I'm not suggesting you stick with an easy language forever, but it's really helpful just to get yourself used to the fundamentals, because that's the hardest part. Adele, hi, welcome in. I'm showing off this website that I made to help with tracking bugs for whatever projects I feel like making. I'm learning that making games, a lot of time goes into story and rich maps areas. I'm too lazy, so I want procedurally generated maps. Any pointers? Yeah, I mean, I feel like those two statements conflict with each other, doesn't it? Where if you're spending time on story and rich maps, then that's kind of the appeal of the game. If you turn it into a procedurally generated game where the maps and the story aren't really the focus, then it's kind of a different game entirely. My game doesn't use my game does not use procedurally generated levels at all anymore. It did at first, because I was thinking the same thing as you, where it's like, I have fun mechanics and I just need a space for people to roam and play and fight things. That's all I need. And I implemented that, and it was fine. Doing procedural levels is fun, but I really like the appeal of a handcrafted level. You are right that it requires an insane amount of upfront time investment, but I think all of the best games have some handcrafted level design to it, and I'm not saying that's easy, and it's not really time efficient. Having a very good having a very good procedural algorithm to make levels that people find fun is probably better. You're right now doing some website for portfolio? Nice, that's a good idea. I definitely made websites during my interview process and my college days, just for the sake of adding it to the resume. Now I'm at the point where I have like products that I want to support. So it's fun being able to make websites that are useful for myself. Hey Chalcade, so I am making a game, but I have an issue with syncing, scaling, and positioning with all devices. Yeah, that's really tricky. And although I don't have... It's really hard to explain how all that works, but I can show, like, in my game, I take a lot of pride in the scaling of my game, where I can, like, squish the window down to be very small, and the game is still perfectly playable when it's small. Or I could turn it into, like, mobile game proportions, and again, the game is still perfectly playable like this. And it takes a lot of effort to make sure that everything is scaling right, because you have to coordinate with the camera and coordinate it with like the edge of the map and coordinate it with all of these different properties to make sure, yeah, very nice resizability. I think that's something that most games should strive for, but it is tricky. Now, to help with that though, I do have an open source repo that... Where is this? I do have an open source repo that should help with guiding you. So I have, let me see if I can find it real quick. Here it is. It's called Sunscreen. It's on my GitHub. So if you Google probably GitHub Chalcade Sunscreen, or actually let me post the URL in the chat. So what this file is, or what this repo is, it is just this one file mainly, but it is a demonstration. It's a library that you can include in your Love2D projects to basically turn the window into this same exact sort of window where it resizes the content based on different properties that you set for it. And again, this is simply or specifically for Love2D. All of the Sunscreen.lua is like Love specific. But at the same time, I think the logic behind it is helpful if you're going to be applying this to a different language. Or, you know, I think that the ideas here are pretty good. And it helps clarify exactly how the math and the scaling and the logic goes into this. Because it is complicated. Making a game work like this is not easy. But I've been taking a lot of pride in my GitHub recently. I've been putting a lot more open source projects on here. And I'd love if people follow me or star my projects. I makes me very happy when I see this star number up here go from 5 to 6. It makes me go, ooh, people like my code. But GitHub has... I use GitHub every single day. And what I like most about GitHub is that you can have the public repos, but you can also have the private repos. Like I'm showing Sunscreen, and this is a public repo. Anyone is able to go to this site here and like see all of this stuff and read all this code. But I also have a bunch of private repos. Like my Moonshire code is on GitHub as well. It's just in a code base that no one's able to access except for me. Any plans on making it multiplayer? Yeah, I plan to make it multiplayer, or at least I plan to like attempt to do multiplayer. It's I got the first steps taken care of, but I got a lot of work to go. You are a great coder, great dev. Thank you, hot dog. That's very kind. Also, I'm kind of frustrated that there's a delay between my chat display and the one that's above my head. Is my source code hidden for Moonshire? Yes. The Moonshire source code is private. It is not public. However, I do have a public repo called Legend of Lua, which I can go ahead and pull that up too. Yeah, it's probably my most popular one, actually. Yeah, if you just go to my Chalcade GitHub, there's this Legend of Lua repo. And what this is, it's an open source version, like an old version of the game. It's an old version of the game that I made open source. Look, I created it 5 years ago. Oh my god, I've been working on this game for 5 years. That is ridiculous. But anyway, 3 years ago, I closed sourced it, so all the stuff from the first 2 years is open. It's debugging time. Woo. I thought you said ooh woo, and I'm like, yes, it's debugging time, ooh woo. Can you say some rumors from time when you was working at Microsoft? Some rumors. I can't really spread any specific rumors because they have a very strong legal team, but I will say that I loved my time working at Microsoft. All the people that I worked with were great, and their campus is lovely. Online, you can look up like the Microsoft Redmond campus. It's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. It's like one of those tech Silicon Valley beautiful college campuses. It's so nice. It's so beautiful. Don't worry about it. Future games will be quicker to make. Yeah, I think in general that's true. Unzipping an exe file for Love2D gives you the source code. You're right. I plan when I re-release the demo to have obfuscation. Wow, that got loud. I plan to have obfuscation for the code where, like you said, I don't really want people to be able to easily extract the code and read it. That's not the intent. But at the same time, people will find a way. I've talked about this before, where even if I add obfuscation, where they have to use like some de-encryptor or it's complicated, people will still find a way. Like people are going to decrypt and read my code no matter what. So I'm going to put some effort into it, but not too much, because even AAA games get decrypted and decompiled. There's not really an easy way to get around that. But yeah, this coming release, I plan to make it a little bit harder, because you're right, it's too easy right now. There needs to be a bit more resistance, because even if there's a little bit of resistance, that alone can prevent people from like doing malicious things. And I'm not saying that it's malicious to decompile code. I think that's fine. But I think there are malicious actors that do that with the intent of stealing the code. And I don't want people to steal the code. I'm using your Sunscreen to make my game, but if I use the camera and I resize the window, the center is not centered. Yeah, you have to make sure that you are updating. Where did I go? Sorry, the chat is so tiny. My name is... I'm so sorry, my display is tiny. I can't see your name. Oh my gosh, that's so weird. My name is Yogi? I am so sorry that I can't freaking... My name is Yogi. So sorry that my chat display screwed up for a moment there. Thank you so much for the donation. I discovered your content this weekend after taking some interest in Love2D and game dev. Never did game dev before, but business apps for 25 years. Love your vids, learned a lot. Def worth $10. Awesome, thank you so much. That is such a kind message. I'm gonna work on my chat display so that I don't like fumble that so much really bad next time. Yeah, when he donated, it was just cutting off his name completely, where it only showed the my name is part. But thank you so much for the donation. I really appreciate that. That really does help enable me make this work. Yeah, game development as a full-time endeavor is... I don't want to say it's not feasible, but it's something that you have to work up towards. Because, like, speaking personally, I haven't actually sold any games for money. I make money from selling my Udemy courses, and YouTube brings in some income. But the way I'm able to do this full time is because I saved up a lot of money during my career, and I was super responsible, and I live very low below my means. Like, I live in this small one-bedroom apartment, and I plan to stay here just until I can get on my feet with providing my own income. It's a challenging process, and I want everyone to be able to work towards being a full-time developer. But it does take a lot of time and patience to get to the point where it's financially feasible. Don't you need any kind of patent or license so your game's content, like art or code, aren't getting copied, stolen, or something like that? So that's a good question, and I don't know specifically, because the legal world with code and things, you know, being stolen, it's really complicated, and I don't exactly know how all that works. Even if I have a license, people are going to steal the code. And you only need a license, really, if it's publicly available. If someone decompiles and steals your code and there's no license, that's not really how it that's not really how it works. That's still stealing, even if there's not a license that explicitly says you can't steal this code. It's more that you need to have a license on any code that's public. So in this case, this Legend of Lua code is public, and so that's why there's a license here. It's the MIT license, which actually I'm going to go ahead and change this to Chalicade LLC, because that's where everything falls under now. And yeah, so that's an important aspect, because if people want to, this is more advice for users of open source code. If you are out there and you want to use open source projects, you need to make sure it has a license, like that person was warning. If there's no license anywhere in the project, or there's no specific like clarity about how you're allowed to use the project, then you should not use that code, because code is inherently owned by the writer of it. Someone was asking about copyright earlier. The reason why I say copyright is complicated is because as soon as you post something publicly, there's a natural copyright attached to it. When you when you create something and you post it, people can't just steal it with no repercussions if you choose to go after them. It's complicated because there's so much to it that I don't even understand. Making it online and having some connectivity may help reduce cracking, since they would have to play offline if they cracked. Well, that's part of the problem. Is for a single player game, I think it's okay if people want to crack the game and like mod it in unauthorized ways or do weird stuff. I think that's okay. Like, it's a single player game. If it was an online game that people were like working with other people with, or like playing with other people with, that would be a problem, just because they would be impacting other people's experiences, and that you would need to put a stop to. And if the game has internet connectivity specifically for that, then yeah, you can help with checking for cheats. But even then, it's not easy to detect. In fact, like, you have to have anti-cheat installed on your system, and that doesn't even work on Linux. So you can't, if you want to have your game completely cheat-free online, it can't work on Linux. That's, as far as I know. Someone can correct me if I'm wrong. But from what I understand, anti-cheat is so invasive to the root that Linux doesn't even, like, it won't even work on Linux. Is there an open source anti-cheat? I'm not sure. I actually don't really know anything about how anti-cheat works. All I know is that it's very invasive, and that's why you normally don't see it working on Linux. But things are changing all the time. It should be better to only allow access to non-essential parts of the system for modding. Yeah, you're completely right. That's why mod support, emphasis on support. Mod support means that the developer created tools within the game to allow you to add your own content to the game. But you're always able to take it a step further and just add your own code. Uncompile the game and recompile it with your own code. You can do whatever you want. You can't legally do it and post it, but you can do whatever you want on your own. You're right, they have to install kernel drivers sometimes. Yeah, that's kind of the impression that I get. But mod support is nice because you can allow people to make changes and put custom content into the game in a controlled way. Because you should never play someone's, like, custom build of a game, because who knows what kind of malware they put inside that build. But if it was just like a mod that you downloaded from the Steam Workshop that's specifically designed and approved to be run through the game naturally without changing the build, that's entirely different. That's a safe process because, you know, the developer intended for that. They put precautions in place to make sure that anything being loaded through the mod loader would work properly and not cause any problems. So you know why my camera isn't centered using Sunscreen. Oh, my bad. I'm sorry for not clarifying that. Let me go ahead and pull up Sunscreen again. I do know why it's not centering. So in here, let's see. I see. So this example doesn't show the update. I think that I should put the update in this example here, because a very important part of this is that the screen has like a position that it's looking at. And here in this like little example, it doesn't show the position changing. But in this main.lua example, it does. If I scroll down to love.update, no. Where would this go? No, we do have to use love.update. So what you need to do is you would want to put in something like this. Screen : set position cam X and cam Y. So I'm sorry that this is small. So this is the sunscreen that you created. And when you put this into your update function, you can change the position of the screen to point at wherever like the camera is supposed to be. The screen kind of like is a camera, kind of. And or you can set it to like player.x, player.y. Okay? So when you do this, the screen is always going to be centered on the player's position. It keeps acting like a stick, and I don't know what to do. It keeps acting like a stick. I'm not sure what you mean. If you can describe the bug, yeah, go ahead. How do you know if something is a bug and not a feature? Yeah, that's always a good question. Sometimes you don't really know right away. Let me make sure that the code I wrote there is okay, because I didn't actually test it. So the way sunscreen.lua works, I'm pretty sure that there's a set position. Come on. Oh my gosh, the way that the search works, and this is bad. Set. Oh my god. I'm losing my mind. It's not set position. Where do you set it? I swear that I had an example where I set it. Because I use it. It might be offset X and offset Y. I think this needs a little bit more work because seeing this, it's not clear to me how to make it snap to the position. Because that code I wrote where I said set position, I don't think that's gonna work. Yeah, I apologize. I think that Sunscreen is gonna need an additional patch so that I can support set position because I must have forgotten to put that in there. Yeah, stay tuned. Make sure that you have this watched or starred, and I'm gonna post an update today. I'm gonna write a note. In fact, I'm gonna write it right now. Sunscreen. You can set position. Okay, so this is on my desktop. I will not forget. Okay, so do I have expectancies for my game to be speedrunnable? Yeah, I do want it to be speedrunnable. Excuse me for stuttering. But in fact, I kind of want the game to be somewhat deterministic, where there's not randomness that can kill a run. That always bothers me with some games where, like, it takes hours and hours to get to the end, but then RNG just kills the run. There's no skill involved, it's just RNG. That always feels bad, right? When RNG kills a run. So I'd like to make it at least so that RNG can't kill a run like that. Wanna look at some art? No, I'm not gonna look at art on stream. I think that I'm gonna focus on showing the things that I've been working on. Because in addition to the bug tracker, I have been working on a homepage as well. Have I played Liza P? No, I haven't played Liza P myself. I watched plenty of streamers play it. It seems amazing. I think that I would like it. The tone and the setting is kind of an odd style. It's not really my thing normally, like steampunk, and the Pinocchio storyline is kind of odd, but everyone seems to love it, and I've heard only good things, so I definitely should give it a shot, especially since I like Souls-likes. But honestly, if I'm going to play a Souls-like, I think the next one I'm going to play is Sekiro, because I have not played that yet, and I hear that one's just insanely good. You use Sunscreen, but it broke my game scaling. I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah, maybe I need to work with more people on specifically Sunscreen scaling and using it, because I bet there are some quirks. I bet there are some quirks with integrating it with other projects, and I'm interested to hear what people are having issues with. If you can reach out to me somehow or post in the Discord or on GitHub is also fine too. Any questions or concerns or things that I can work on. Addressing them right now on stream is kind of difficult, but I'll be able to work on them today. But in addition to this site, I'm going to go ahead and show the homepage I was working on, chalcade.com. So this is still a work in progress, and I think I'm going to squish down like the Moonshire Necrozone sections a little bit to be a little bit better. But it's still a work in progress. Some of the buttons don't do anything, like shop doesn't do anything. I think gallery is live too, but I think this is going to be my new link tree, because someone was talking about link tree earlier in the stream, where this is like going to be the new thing. How I have like my YouTube, TikTok, GitHub, the Discord server link is here, my Twitter, and my email. You'll be able to see all that stuff. Merch soon, yeah. We're working on stickers, so I don't think that we're gonna do any big merch, but me and my artists are working on stickers, and so you can expect that within the next few months. Are they a brother or sister or friend of mentor? Yeah, the yellow Lua is just meant to be a different coloration. What I use to make the website, I've been looking into learning some web dev, but I don't know where to start. Yeah, this was all custom made, so I didn't use any template or framework. I really did just code all this myself with some like AI assistant coding, and I'm super happy with how it turned out. So to be more specific, this is all a static website. It's all just HTML, JS, or it's all HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. And yeah, it is all custom coded. I wish I had more advice on specific ways to make a website, but like my day job was making websites as a living before I went to game dev, so I have a lot of experience with making stuff from scratch like this. And yeah, I would say the time investment that went into this was pretty intense. You know, I wouldn't say that much, because the AI leverage helps the mundane process of making a site a lot simpler, but I still had to put a lot of time into the backend side. I have all this hosted on my own Azure cloud service, and I have this gallery button here. This is a whole new site that I made for having the images, because, you know, for a press kit, you'll want to have the high-res images available for people to download. So someone was talking about the yellow Lua. If you ever wanted to get the high-res image for that, you can go to gallery.chalacade.com and you can download this full-res image. Now, this is an important aspect, too, with the web development side of things, where all of these images, again, are hosted on my own cloud service through Azure. And then when you go to the site, it's pinging those individual endpoints to load them. Otherwise, all of these images would have to be compiled and packaged with the static site itself, and that's just high data usage. There's no need for that. I see, really cool. Yeah, I wish I could give more advice. I would say the most actionable advice, the main page is clean, thank you. I'd say the most actionable advice, and what I would actually give to someone who is new to web development, is try one of like the template builder tools like Squarespace or something like that. Because that will at least get you accustomed to what hosting a site is like. And Squarespace does a lot of the heavy lifting. I know that they charge money for it. That's kind of like the whole point. Every hosting process is going to cost money, but Squarespace, at least, like they have that builder installed, and they make it really easy to get started. It's meant to be low maintenance and low barrier to entry. And then after you make a site or two, or like you have a little bit of experience with what Squarespace is like, then I would say it's perfectly fine to move on to trying something more custom, or building something from scratch if that's something you're interested in. But it's a process building a site. This is like my 5th attempt of making a homepage. I am really happy with how clean it is. I think that these like Moonshire and Necrozone panels can be squished down, because it's kind of like a big empty space. I don't think it's necessary to have them that big, when really all that these are, it's just links to the other stuff. Yeah, if you want to learn it yourself, start learning HTML, CSS, and JS. That is true, but also that is a long road ahead of you if you're going the custom-coded HTML, building a site using code like that, because it is hard. I've been coding my whole life, and making this site from scratch was really tricky. I would think that it would take a lot of experience to make a site like this on your own, so that's why I always recommend like a builder, unless you have web development experience. If you have web development experience with making sites, then I'd say make it yourself. If you don't, then I think that something like this would be pretty hard as like your first site. I was looking into React. It's just that there's so much info everywhere. React is very intense. So I would first suggest toning down the functionality of the site. Like my site, I went into this website just thinking of this like header portion, where it's just going to be like a simple one-page landing page with links on it. If you keep it that way, then I think it's very feasible to make just a static website with HTML and CSS. You wouldn't even need JavaScript, just HTML and CSS. Look up some templates online to get some links on a website, and then look up hosting options. Like I use Azure, but there's plenty of like cheap host sites that you can get a website up and running. And then that will also give you some exposure to the end-to-end process of getting a website hosted. Because, again, unfortunately, it is really challenging. You have to worry about hosting and cloud services, and if there's an API. That's why I say, like, don't really worry about anything more intense. I was showing this bugs site earlier. Something like this is definitely more involved, because I have to have a database for all the bugs. I have to have storage for like these videos. These videos are stored in my own cloud service, and they get served to the site whenever someone loads like this particular video. First time I've been to in a while. Awesome, I'm glad you could be here. I have all the basics of HTML, CSS, and JS. I was looking more into the complex stuff, if that makes sense. Yeah, so when I worked at Microsoft, I used React. That was the tool that we used to make one of the websites that we were supporting. And I can say with certainty that React can do some very cool things, but it is hard to understand. It is complex. And I would equate it to a sledgehammer. So if you had a nail and a board, would you use a little hammer to nail it in, or would you use a sledgehammer? I think React is like a sledgehammer. You would use React for large-scale projects, for big data, for commercial production apps. I personally wouldn't use React for like a small-scale app, just because I think it's kind of tricky to understand. And I bet there's some more lightweight frameworks. And you know, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm just used to React in the context of a commercial application. But I get the impression that React is just a little bit overboard for a small site. And like, I'm an indie. I get the impression that you're kind of indie as well. And that's why I would say that maybe React is a bit too much. And I like the simplicity of a site like this. Even though there's probably some more I could do to it. And I wish I had more actionable advice. That's what I keep saying. Because I don't really know how actionable it is just to code something from scratch with HTML and CSS. That's a lot of work. If makes sense. I appreciate your view on this. Thanks. Yeah, sure. I'm glad I could at least weigh in on it. There's still a lot to consider. I wish I could give you a more definitive answer. But all I can say is that like web development is complex and you have a lot of options to go with. In general, when it comes to any skill, if it's web development or game development, I normally always advise people to go... Oh, the child picture. I normally always advise people to go with the easiest option at first. So like with game development, I normally say like stick with Scratch or Game Maker just to start off with, because those are generally like more approachable and easier to get started with. And with web development, I would say the same thing, where if there is a framework out there that's easier to get into, Next.js is popping right now. Yeah, I've been hearing more about that too. Oh, I'm from Peoria. I spent a day there last year. It was a lovely town. Awesome. Yeah, that's where I live. That's where I'm from. Was web development boring and a bit repetitive for you? Yeah, I would say, well, I wouldn't say it was boring. It was more like it introduces a lot of challenges, because web development is a live service. When a website is online, that means that it can be accessed by anyone at any time, including in the middle of the night, including at 3 a.m. And sometimes people will access your site at 3 a.m. and the site will break. And you know what happens when the site breaks at 3 a.m.? You have to wake up and fix it at 3 a.m. I would say that that was the most challenging thing, is that with a live service that interacts with lots of APIs, lots of data, lots of other services, there are lots of points of failure. There are plenty of things that can go wrong. And a lot of the challenge with web development is keeping things alive, and fighting fires is what you call it. You're a firefighter. You see problems and you put out those problems as quickly as you can. I usually do Java Kotlin dev for Minecraft servers. Oh, that's cool. That sounds neat. Gotta love those ICM calls. Wow! You actually know about ICM. Yep, that's exactly, like, you're giving me PTSD hearing that. Do non-Microsoft companies use ICM? I actually don't know. We use that internally. What part of Moonshire's code do you hated the most? UI. Definitely UI. UI is so hard, because there are libraries out there that do UI for you, but it is hard to integrate it into your own projects. I'm a Microsoftie, actually. Oh, okay, that makes sense. JJK, love your Minecraft videos. Yeah, I noticed that he's verified. How have I seen GMTK's new game? His new game. Yeah, I watched his video. I can't remember what it was. So he released Mind Over Magnet, and then I saw that he posted a video about another game that he made. It was like a smaller puzzle game. Can you remind me what it was? I can't remember. When did I quit? I left Microsoft in September 2023. Which do you prefer, Android or iPhone, and will Moonshire support them? I like both of them. I think that, so Android, one, is cheaper to get into, and you can work with Android on any PC, so it's a lot more approachable to work with. But I like iPhone just because it's more standardized, and I think the, what do you call it, the Xcode. I think Xcode integration with mobile is pretty good. Like, the way I got Love2D games working on mobile is impressive, and I'm pretty impressed like how smooth that was. It was smoother to get the game running on iPhone than it was smoother to get it running on Android, but Android has more flexibility, if that makes sense. Have I played .hack Infection? No, I have not. I don't think I've heard of that. How long did I work at Microsoft? 5 years. Sorry to be late. What am I talking about? I'm just showing off a lot of the websites that I've been working on. So I had this bug tracking website that we're going to be using for keeping track of the known active bugs, because there's lots of them. There's more than just these, by the way. This is just like some initial ones, and it's going to change over time. But I was also showing my homepage, childk.com. This is live right now. It is still a work in progress, though. Like, I know a lot of these buttons don't do anything because the stuff is still in progress. And also, Necrozone. I'm so sad that Necrozone got taken off all the stores. I think it's off completely. I need to re-upload it because things are a bit, you know, hard to get things on mobile. Some people were talking about mobile earlier. Mobile has a lot of requirements for their store pages, and recently the part I've been struggling with is that when you have an app on iPhone or Android, the source, you have to have a physical address listed, you have to have a phone number listed, you have to have an email listed, and those are private aspects that I do not want listed right now. So I've been having to work on having obfuscation or, you know, some sort of business management service that's going to take care of that for me. Have I tried getting multiplayer in any of the games? I have tried getting multiplayer in Moonshire, and I'm committed to attempting it. I haven't committed that Moonshire will definitely have multiplayer. I don't know for sure if it will, but I'm going to really try to make it because I think that would be really good for the game. And I think I can pull it off too. From 2018 to 2023, yeah, that's when I worked there. Multiplayer on a Pong game first? Yeah, honestly, like, I'm not even joking. That's what I should do, is test network multiplayer with a dummy game first before trying it with Moonshire. And that is a very reasonable approach. Can you share the URLs of the site? It's just challocade.com and, what was it? bugs.challocade.com. I'll be happy to test it for you. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I think with Moonshire, though, it's going to be perfectly okay for me to jump right into multiplayer support over a network with Moonshire because I would be taking it one step at a time. The very first step I would take, since I have the setup for connecting the two clients through Steam, that part is taken care of. The part I need to work on next that's actually difficult is making it so that the players can see each other in the same world. And that's the first simple step. Make it so that when the clients are connected, you can just see like a circle that represents the other player. Nothing else. All it's checking is the positions of the two players and connecting their data over a network. That is the first step, and it's like the first baby step. Once I can do that, then it's like, okay, now that they can see each other's positions, I need to show like the correct sprite at that position. I need to show the correct animation for the player at that position. And then at that point, you're like building out the game. So right now, it's only showing one player, but imagine that this Steam client here is connected to another Steam client, and it's able to show like a circle right here that shows where in the game your friend is at. Even if it's not displaying anything more complex, it's just a little dot. It's like a proof of concept. Are you using some kind of database system for bugs page? Yeah, I am. So in Azure, there is this thing called an Azure static... No, sorry. There's storage accounts. Azure Storage. So Azure Storage has built-in tables, and you can just use the storage account tables like a database. And that's what I've been using for the bugs tracking website. The site is fantastic. Thank you. I appreciate that. I think Steam offers their own servers for multiplayer. Yeah, I think they do too. In fact, the way that I have multiplayer set up for Moonshire, like I said, connecting to Steam clients, I've been saying that a lot, is I do that all through Steam, where if you are Steam friends with someone, actually, let me take a step back. And let me turn the music down because it's kind of loud. In order for online multiplayer to work, you need to have the two game clients connected. Okay, so you have to have my game client, this game window. You have to connect them over a network to your friend's client. Like, they could be on the other side of the world, the other side of town, wherever. and they have to be connected over a network. Now, how do you do that? In the old days, you would have their IP address. If you have someone's IP address, you can connect two clients together manually using an IP address. However, when you're swapping IP addresses with someone, that's dangerous. That is a security risk, and you should not just give people your IP address. And that's why, in order for my game to connect with another Steam client, Steam offers this relay system. So you don't share your IP address with anyone. Instead, when my game connects with another game, it sends my IP address to Steam. Steam obfuscates that IP address and connects it to the other Steam client, and Steam acts as like a middleman. This game connects to Steam, Steam connects to my friend, and then Steam handles like the network as a middleman for that whole process. And that way, the connection can be made securely without having to swap IP addresses. Steam handles the relay and the obfuscation process without needing any sort of security risk. Using Windows 11, so basically I'm using an OS made by you. I wish. I did not work on Windows at all. I only worked on Azure. That's the only thing I worked on. I use SQLite a lot for small projects, databases. It's all one file neat. Yeah, I would say keeping things all in one file is super nice. I don't really know the complexities of data storage, and like I don't even know the difference really between SQL and SQLite. And NoSQL is another one. Cosmos DB is another one. And then I talked about Azure Storage Tables is another one. Dude, all of these are... It's funny how many options there are. And being honest, I don't even know the full differences between all of them. I'm sure there's actual needed difference between all of those, but I'm hearing all kinds of different ones. Here, 1234556 Baconator. That's a very good IP address. I wish the IP addresses were human readable like that. I bet you could make it human readable. UDP hole punching. I'm not actually familiar with that. What else was I gonna show? Yeah, it's just the home page, and then it was the bug tracking site, and then yeah, now I have the gallery. So the gallery is its own thing too. And originally, I started off having the gallery just on this page, but I think it makes more sense to have the gallery separated because now, as the project grows, oh, that's an actual bug. 404 not found. I don't want it to 404 whenever the URL changes. Yeah, that's kind of weird. But the whole point of the site is, like, you notice there, when I change projects, it's going to take a moment for the images to load. Like, watch closely. Oh, I didn't do it that time. I think I cached it. I think I cached the site, so it didn't load. But the whole point is that this site loads the images individually. Yeah, there you saw it for a moment. It like flashes. And that's the moment where it's like pinging my cloud service to retrieve that data so that it's not actually packaging every single image. Because some of these images are high res, and I don't want to bog down my site package with all of these high res images. So instead, these are stored in a cloud service, and then the site just pings the cloud service to get a connection and then renders them. I gotta go. Thank you for stream. Catch up later. Thank you. I appreciate you being here. Are there Easter eggs yet? I wouldn't say there's Easter eggs specifically in the game yet, just because everything's changing so frequently to the point where if I put in an Easter egg, I bet it'd be gone by the next week. Did I work on Minecraft? I wish. I did not work on Minecraft, though. Nope. When I worked at Microsoft, the only thing I worked on was Azure. That was the only thing. I think my new game has a lot of potential, man. Thank you. That's such a nice thing for you to say. I appreciate that. Will I make a turtle in Moonshire? I think at this point, I definitely have to put a turtle into Moonshire. Because, you know, turtles have become an enigma in the Chalcade space. And I know that the title of this stream was like fixing bugs, but really I don't think I'm going to fix bugs. I think I'm just showing off the sites and talking about how they work. Because all of these tools, I'm very happy with how they turned out, and I plan to use these for a long time. I'm glad I have a one-stop shop I can send people to. Because before, like with the tutorials, for example, I didn't have an easy way to share these links. I just kind of had to say, like, go to Udemy and search my courses. And Turtle Boss win? A Turtle Boss would be awesome. Like, that's like a Mario throwback. Am I gonna add some of my own original mythical creatures? I would say so, or at least my own takes on mythical creatures. Also, man, that's quite the delay between my chat and yours. Like, I'm sorry about the delay there. But like, I have the Bunyip and I have the Tengu. I'd say that's like my own mythical. It's my own take on them though. Are you interested in help with networking for Moonshire? I don't think so. At the moment, I'm really I need to focus on making the demo fully playable and out. Because, like, there is a Steam demo on Steam, but it's like a year old. I have so many updates I need to push. Yeah, it's just a lot of outdated stuff. Am I holding back on showing some bosses or big content? Yeah, I wouldn't say I'm holding off for that. It's more that right now, things are in an in-between state. And it's hard for me to show things when things are not quite as functional as they used to be. Yeah, it's just a little bit iffy at the moment. What do I think of Roblox Dev? Have I tried it? I have not specifically tried Roblox Dev, but I want to actually. I want to try Roblox Dev, but just because I think that I would have a knack for it, considering like it's all Lua coding. That would be a good way for me to get accustomed to 3D, because right now I don't have any experience doing 3D game development, and I think Roblox would be a fun way to do like a first little project, something simple. I'm all about that. I always recommend people start with simple frameworks, and I'd say Roblox kind of counts as that. You've played Roblox since 2021. Yeah, I mean, Roblox has been so big for a long time. I first heard about Roblox when I posted my Love 2D course. Why not Lover? I mean, Lover, I wouldn't say Lover is an easy framework. Lover seems like kind of a harder one because it's all text-based. A lot of the 3D engines have like a drag and drop engine that handles a lot of the heavy lifting for you. Sorry, my stream display was not showing. Everyone seems to be leaning to default lately. I think that it's more that since default uses Lua, some default users are finding my channel since Lua is kind of hard to find content around. I remember downloading Roblox in like 2020 or 2013 when it started to get really popular. I'm surprised it's still popular after all these years. That's really early. 2013 is earlier than I found it. I found Roblox in 2018 when I posted my Lua course. 2013, that's a long time. But yeah, I'd say it's certainly really popular. Now, I think there's a bit of a generational divide. I think that it's more popular with younger people than it is people like I'm almost 30 years old. I don't think that there's many 30-year-olds playing Roblox. I'm sure there's plenty though. But it definitely appeals more to younger folks, I can tell. But at the same time, like, I watched, like, the Only Plays Roblox series, and it cracked me up. So there's definitely some good, fun content on Roblox. My kids all play Roblox nonstop. The platform def caters to ADD of the younger generation. I kind of get that impression, too. But I would still like to try it for development purposes, because it uses the same language that my game uses. And, like, I think that it would be fun to compare, like, oh, well, I'd love to see what coding Lua scripts in Roblox is like compared to Love 2D. It's like Pokemon or Mario game that will never die. I mean, I don't think, yeah. I don't think Pokemon or Mario will ever die. As long as they treat the series right. I mean, I used to think that Halo would never die, but man, things aren't looking too hot right now. Have I searched for 9-patch? 9-patch? No, I'm not familiar with that. 9-patch. Yeah, nothing comes up when I search for that. You also can make 2D games in Roblox? Really? I didn't know that. I don't know how that would even look. Does it like flatten the image? Because all of the visuals I've seen from Roblox are all just like 3D games. Pokemon doesn't have to treat the series right to remain the most successful media. I mean, you are 100% right about that. They themselves are proof of that. I really hope the next like Legends ZA is good. I hope so. Halo, what a beautiful game. I love Halo, especially 3. So like when Halo 3 came out, that was so big that I bought an Xbox 360 specifically so I could play Halo 3. And it was the best time of my life. I was so happy playing Halo 3 on Xbox 360. Like Xbox Live, oh man. Pokemon Present tomorrow? Oh, really? I didn't know that. A Gen 2 remake? That would be so cool. I would love a remake because I love Pokemon Crystal. But, you know, hot take, I don't really enjoy playing Soul Silver and Heart Gold just because the engine that it runs on is very slow. Like, the battles are slow, and it feels like it lags and it's choppy. And the EXP bar is slow. Boo, I know, hot take. Yeah, exactly. Like, if they fix the speed of things, I would love it. I think that Heart Gold Soul Silver is awesome. The only thing I dislike about it is the performance. So if there was a re-release and the performance was really good, I think that it would be a win-win-win for all of us. Because I'm a big fan of Gen 2. What else should I talk about? I've just been going through... Oh, I guess that the name of the stream is Fixing Bugs. Let's go ahead and fix some bugs. I'm pretty sure that there were bugs last week when I went around a tree. In fact, I remember what it was. If I go to woods... Oh yeah, and there's also the bug of the flashing. I should fix this. That's what I should fix today. Reset number 2000. Dang, that is brutal. That is brutal. But good luck. I hope that it comes soon. Viable pursuit. Yeah, so there's actually multiple bugs I can work on. So there's this crash. This crash happens because of the pathfinding issues with the enemies. But I think instead I want to work on the flashing vines. So let's show that again real quick. Howdy y'all. Hi, welcome in Latter-day Gamer. You can make 2D games, init UI, or 3D assets in fixed perspective. Oh, fixed perspective, I see. So yeah, then it would just like flatten the perspective. That makes sense. So let's go over to woods. I'm going to save here. So the thing I was going to say is the bug I want to work on is look at these vines that appear right here. They're like flashing for some reason. I don't have any clue why they would be flashing like that. And yet they are. And then it keeps crashing. So, a few things. Let's fix the flashing. I tried to fix this on stream before, but I had a lot of trouble doing it. Remember the game crash for rolling into a tree. Oh, that's another good one. Yeah, that's a good one. So let me start with... It's under effects. Spike vine blockade. Offset the Y just because. Okay. Maybe animations aren't being reset? So, this bug is odd just because the alpha channel of these spike vines is behaving very weird. It's setting right here. If you alpha, okay, maybe here. Let me try. This is even more confusing because this should override it. I'm really confused. It jumps between 30 and 60 FPS and the game speed changes. It jumps between 30 and 60 FPS and game speed changes. I'm not quite sure. This game looks really good. I've been trying to make a game in Godot, but I never know what to make. Yeah, I mean, it's a long process. I always recommend with going like really easy projects at first and building it up over time slowly, just because getting to this point, like I showed on stream just earlier how my Legend of Lua code was from 5 years ago. I've been working on this game for 5 years. Rough. Takes so long to get to that point. I don't exactly know why the vines are flashing like that, because... Yeah, that didn't fix it. Because it's doing it at really erratic times, too. Let me make sure that this actually is the right draw function. Because it might not be. Okay, it's not. Okay, this is the wrong spot, actually. I need to figure out what that is. Spike vine. Does spike vine blockade... Does this have its own draw function? Draw. Maybe I'm. This is brutal. Man, I'm sorry that it's taking me a moment to figure this out, but at least we got some good jams. Do they also flash when there isn't rain on screen? I think so. Let's test that though. That's a good thing to test. So where is this configured? The weather would be configured. Ah, man, I'm really struggling. I can't remember where I have all this stuff stored. Load map. Weather. Nature. Okay, I called it nature. Rain. Okay, so I think that I just need to game map.weather. So does every game map have a weather property? It's been a while since I worked on the weather, actually. I enabled it and then I forgot about it. Zone. Okay, so zone sets the weather. So there's a zone set somewhere. Apply zone. I remember now. So every map has a zone section to it. Here it is. Okay, so now here in Forest, I can just turn weather. We're gonna get rid of the rain part. Oh my gosh, it's not. Wolf! Wolf, you genius! Wolf solved the problem. It was a problem with the rain. I almost didn't even want to test it because I didn't think it was possible. Okay. So, why would that change? Why is like I don't know why. Wolf clutch, yeah, no doubt. She really gets it. So, okay. Years and years of glitch hunting pays off. I'd say like you just have like that brain context. So maybe it's not actually. Why would the rain do that? Effect. What is happening? Why? Effect off fading. I wonder if it's like crossing the wires or something. The first short from you I watched was the draw order one. Yeah, that one's a really good one. The diagonal one's. I think the diagonal one's my most famous one. But I love the draw order one. That one's really nice. You think Sniper Wolf from Metal Gear? When I hear Wolf, I just think about Wolf. Effect alpha. I'm very worried that this. So this is the problem. The reason I'm so confused is because this effect code is very old. It's from a long time ago. Oh, I think I know what it would be. No, that doesn't make sense. But maybe. Effects. No. This is stupid. That's not good. That's not it. If Moonshire can bring back the feeling that Wind Waker gave me on my first playthrough, I'm playing it. Oh, I hope so. Like that's a hard task to complete, but I'm gonna give it a shot because I love Wind Waker. There's parts of Wind Waker that I think are too slow. I would love Wind Waker if it was like a bit faster and things moved a bit quicker, and you know, if they wrapped up the ending a little bit better. I am struggling, guys. I am struggling. I'm very worried that like these flux 2s and it says effect. I'm worried that effect is like or maybe spike. Are there multiple spikes? Rock spike, spike vine. There's rock spike, but that's nothing. Are Sprite and Sprite might be the same people? I think that Sprite is just a fork, as in Sprite is open source and Sprite copied the code, and it's just their own builds that they're releasing. That's all I think it is. Bub, hi, welcome in. The first short of yours I watched was the shaders one. I like that one too. Gotta say, I'm struggling a little bit. Is this what is Spike in here? No, Spike is definitely here. So I am frustrated. I don't know why it would do that. Yeah, sorry I'm not talking too much. I'm really focused on trying to figure out why this is doing this. Is effects the same as shaders? No, effects are actually... this file effect is very old. It has it has a bunch of hard-coded individual effects, and this is not good. I do not like how this file is organized. That's why I have this other file called effect2. This one is much better, and it's much more streamlined, but there's so many old effects in the game that I do still use this old effects code. And that's why I'm worried that this like spike vine blockade is being like hard coded somewhere. Spike, I mean it's definitely spike vine. Draw. Okay. Maybe there's a different anim draw that it's using. Effects draw layer. This is the one that I thought, but when I commented this line out and I ran it again, you could still see the vines. Yeah, so it's definitely drawing the vines somewhere other than right here. But if it's not drawing it here, then where is it drawing it? If e.layer Knife effects. If e.layer is equal to layer, I don't. Okay, let's see all the places that this function is being called. It's just being called from the draw function. Ah, man. Could be the rain splashing animation. The rain splashing animation messing up the spike animation. It probably is something like that, but really all I'm trying to find right now is I just want to find... Oh, it's probably this. Okay, so let's see if e-draw... It's probably this. So the vine should be... No, that's still drawing. That's not possible. I don't... Something's very wrong with these spike vines. Spike vine. Are the spike vines duplicated in Vec 2? No, actually there's no spikes at all in here. So it's just these. I am just so surprised that I can't even... Does this work? If I change this to like scale, like this is gonna make the vines twice as tall. Does this work? It does. Okay, so why isn't it not drawing properly? How about draw equals? No? Draw? Oh! Am I the only one with the warp feature? No, if you want to warp, you can. So you can do that in the game by pressing Control-Alt-D. Control-Alt-D. You can open up that debug menu. I'm not gonna keep it in the final version of the game, but during like the demo and the debugging phase, you can go ahead and use that. Oh, I'm so sad. I'm so sad that I can't figure this out. It's cool to see a game made with Lua that isn't on Roblox. Yeah, I think it's kind of unique. Let's see. Effect.anim. My game scaling is so bad. I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah, again, I'm sorry I'm not being too talkative right now. I'm getting so into this bug, I need to fix it. Not gonna lie, I always have trouble fixing bugs on stream because I have some additional anxiety of like, what if they get bored? It's like, I am feeling that right now. It's like I have performance anxiety trying to fix these bugs. It's like, this is probably a very easy bug to fix. It's just, I'm freezing up right now. How about .anim:? This is what I'm looking for. Maybe the field draws it? Oh god, I'm losing my mind. Unique ID? Does this use the... Oh. Wait, no, this still isn't it. Yeah, that's still not it. That's still not it. The right music always helps. Oh, totally. I love this song. How do I close the debug menu, but still have the debug showing? I don't know what you mean by that. I feel like I spend 10% of the time coding and 90% of the time debugging. I mean, that's pretty normal. Even in the professional world, I'd say that's pretty normal. But like, I'm struggling with the most easy thing right now. I have this effect, and I just want to change where it's drawn. I can't even find that. Spike Vine. How? I can't believe that I can't find where it's being drawn at. You always debug most of the time? I mean, that's probably true. So, the thing about the effects is that the rain is also an effect. What's effect 2? Effect 2 is a better version of effect 1, but there's so many effects in the game that I still have to keep effect 1 around. Okay, let's look at how the rain operates then, okay? So the rain has an alpha value. What if... No, it is local. It's a local effect. It doesn't make sense. Okay, here. It's right here. This is where it happens. I found the problem. Oh my god. That is so obnoxious. I can't believe how long it took me. Okay, I'm pretty sure that the bug's fixed now. Man, what a nightmare. That was so anticlimactic too. Because like I said, I knew that the bug was easy to fix. Oh god. So dumb. Okay, so the problem is that every single effect in this, because this is really old code. It's very old code. But every single effect starts off with a default draw function. And the default draw function just draws the animation. And I got confused because a lot of other effects have their own custom draw function, and I thought this meant that this draw function only existed on specific effects. So when Spike Vine didn't have that, I thought that it meant that it didn't have the draw function. Instead, it was using the default, because there's two places that .anim draw is occurring, which again I should have found this. At the top of the page, it's happening here in this default draw function, but it's also happening down at the bottom here in this one. So actually, this is redundant. I need to move this. I need to do that. And then at the very top, I'm going to get rid of this. We don't need this anymore. Because if an animation exists, it's going to be drawn by this one all the way down here. Or wherever that was. Yeah, this one. So I think that that's going to clean it up nicely. What does set white do? That's a good question. Whoop. I accidentally screwed something up. 195. Where is draw being set again? You know what? Whatever. I'm gonna bring it back. And we're just gonna do nothing. No, I just don't want that. How should I do this? I'm gonna say draw anim, and then it's gonna do that. So what set white does, by the way, is it sets the alpha back to full. So the vines were flashing because at some point the alpha changed to be like transparent, and this needed to be called to set it back to being fully like opaque. Let future Kyle deal with the consequences. Well, you know, I kind of am future Kyle right now because I'm fixing this dumb old code. But now with this here, should I also make a default draw? Function effect :draw. Do nothing in default draw. So then over here, actually, this is driving me nuts. I don't want it to have a default draw. It really shouldn't have a default draw. Instead, I want this. I don't want a default draw. Like, I don't need that there. All I need is the draw at the bottom. Or where did it go? I'm moving stuff around too much. Now I'm getting confused. Yeah, I really don't want this here. So let's try to fix the crash. Favorite food? Oh, man. Probably like a big, greasy, stuffed crust pizza. Attempt to call method draw nil value. Sprite manager 165. Sprite manager 195. It's saying draw. I can do, this is what I need. Yeah, there we go. Okay, but now the splashes on the ground are messed up, but they're not showing up, so why is that? Splash. Rain. Ripple. So it gets confused when there's no draw function. What was this? You know what? I should put in a default draw. I'm losing my mind. Okay, I think I know what the problem is. I think I know why I'm getting so confused. The reason I'm getting so confused... I'm sorry I keep bouncing back and forth. I'm getting confused by this, there's a draw function, and then there's this anim draw, and the anim draw is separated from the draw. So really, I just need to put this here. I'm gonna put this here. And then yes, everything is going to have function. Yep. Like this. Oh, not update, draw. And sure, self. So actually, no, we can just do this. There we go. And draw. I think this will work. Okay. So the question was, why were the vines not opaque to begin with? And the reason why is because when you're running a game, and there are all of these different sprites on screen. So you can see that in this game, you have like the fireflies, you have the grass petals, you have the rain droplets. And sometimes, like watch this firefly, it's gonna fade out. See, it faded out. So that firefly had an effect applied to it. It was fading out, its alpha channel was moving down. So whenever you draw a sprite, like semi-opaque or transparent, you use what's called the alpha channel. You actually change the color that's being drawn to be like half opaque. But when you do that, every sprite after that point, whenever you set the opacity, will also be semi-transparent. So what was happening is that somewhere, like I think it was in the rain, when the rain droplet, or like when the rain fades out, it was affecting the alpha of the vines. And I can test that if I remove this line right here. So what this line here does is it sets the alpha of the vines to something other than the default, whatever was already set. And whatever's already set, oh, it's fixed. It's not doing it. Well, now I don't know why the bug isn't happening. Like, I thought that would have fixed it. Or I thought that would have brought the bug back. But it didn't work. Spike vine. But long story short is the main problem was just that the opacity wasn't being reset whenever the spikes were being drawn. So since the spikes need to be fully opaque, I need to make sure that there is a an opacity set. So this will reset the opacity back to full. So I just need to add this set white in there. Well, at least it's gone. Yeah, it's just like, I wish I could solve these bugs sometimes a little bit more eloquently, because that was a little bit rough. But yeah, at least it's not flashing anymore. That's nice. So there's another bug when I lure a slime around a tree, it crashes the game too. And this is just because I haven't implemented this function yet when I need to. So I don't think I'm going to implement that right now. Instead, let's work on that rolling tree bug. Oh yeah, I'm going to commit this. Fixed flashing vines. Also, let's double check that all these changes are good. Oh yeah, the only thing I changed is I added this else set white, and then also, yeah, I got rid of all this stuff. It's a lot simpler now. That's good. I was about to complain about, yeah, I do commits per bug. Don't worry about that. Did I draw the sprites or is it some pack? It's a combination. Like, normally I start with the pack and then I do a lot of editing. So, like, if you look really closely at my game, you'll probably see some comparisons to, like, the ARM 1998 pack or some of the itch.io packs, but it's pretty different. And there's a lot of custom sprites, and I commission a lot of sprites, a lot of paid work. So it's a mixture of a lot of different things. And also, I do make my own sprites a lot, too. Okay, so I was gonna work on the bug rolling tree issue. Rolling into a tree. So the bug was, if you try to roll into a tree, it crashes the game. So let me do that after I kill off these slimes. Okay, so I remember... Oh, it's fixed. It didn't do it this time. Okay, so at some point I must have changed something where it doesn't crash when you roll into a tree anymore. I do remember that happening though. How do I feel about using AI to create sprites? In general, I wouldn't recommend it. I mean, at the moment, I don't know how good AI sprites are, but I like human-made sprites a lot more. I haven't really tried it for a long time. It's kind of a controversial topic, I understand, but things are changing a lot. I personally don't do any AI artwork. I could see AI being helpful with like maybe generating some buttons or UI elements or adding some shading or like little effects maybe. I might use AI for shaders, but I wouldn't use AI for sprites. I think that you'll be better off doing handmade ones, but you know, it's only a matter of time before AI sprites catch up to human-made ones. It's like we're gonna have an existential crisis on our hands when it comes to like art and AI. It's a tough conversation. I understand. Can you explain the lib Pixel 3D? I did understand it. Yeah. So Pixel 3D was let's go ahead and open that up. Sorry, let me open it up off stream. Man, sorry, 1 second. It's taking me a second to find it. Okay. So Pixel 3D is this open source software I wrote. It's on GitHub. So if you go on GitHub and search for Pixel 3D, you'll find my GitHub repo for this software that takes a pixel art sprite and it converts it into like voxel 3D cubes. And you can like rotate. Oh, I'm too zoomed in. You can like rotate it and stuff. So it fully works. It has a little bit of flashing when you get too close, though, I think. But how this works is if you clone the repo or you download the repo, it comes with a few things. First is the main.lua. This is an example project that uses Pixel 3D. If you want to use Pixel 3D in your own projects, you would need to just copy this file and put it into your project and then use it in the same way that this main.lua does. So it imports the Pixel 3D thing. It creates a image 3D, which is what we were seeing here. This is an image 3D is what I called it. And all that an image 3D is it's a collection of voxel cubes. And then it optimizes it a little bit with some clever math. This was AI assisted too, just to help with the math portion and making sure that these like vertices lined up properly. And same with the optimization where vertices on the inside, I can actually show vertices. How do you do that? Wireframe. Yeah, so you can actually see it. It's pretty cool. So at first, there were like wires in the middle, like on the inside of the sword. And that's not really necessary. It looks like there's still a few on the inside, but overall, all the wires are strictly on the outside. So there's no worries about like collision detection on the inside. You had me at Voxel. I love Voxels. I think they're cool and they look really nice. But what makes this software so cool is that this is purely 2D. There is no 3D engine here at all. This is just Love 2D. This is just Love 2D running right now. That's how I'm rendering this. The way that it works, though, is just like really clever perspective tricks with these triangles. It converts this pixel art image into these triangles, and then it calculates what does the perspective look like for that individual triangle every single frame. That's just how 3D graphics works, is you have a 2D image, because like your computer screen, you're watching me right now on a 2D computer screen, There's no 3D anything. It's just very clever effects to create this this perspective like thing, you know. Also, my browser broke again. That's what all 3D is? Yeah, exactly. I tried but the sprite don't have depth or 1 pixel. I'm not sure exactly what you mean. So, the first thing though, like when you run the game, like when you run the project normally, because you can just take this project, run it through Love2D, and this main.lua will run the code that comes with it automatically. So you should be able to see this like right away. Then the next step is just adjusting it to work with your own images. And in fact, you can just change this text right here to be like player.png, and it'll use player.png instead. Am I friends with GoodGiz? Yeah, I am. We had a few conversations over Discord, but I wouldn't say that we're good friends, but we talk to each other, and I mentioned him in my videos, and he mentions me in his. That's a classic thing for your browser to crash. It crashes constantly every stream. It's so strange. I don't get it. Search up old Roblox cursor and compare it to the Moonshire demo, Steam demos. I bet I'll try that. I bet that there's some similarities. In fact, I've been starting to see it a lot more recently. I've been watching my videos now for a few months now. I've made a GitHub page as well for my game. Awesome, that's really good. Yeah, having GitHub is huge. For anyone else watching, if you're working on any project, if it's art, if it's code, if it's a game, no matter what it is, I really would recommend having a GitHub page for your project, because it just lets you have backups, and it lets you go back and see all the things that you worked on. So this is Legend of Lua. I haven't worked on this for a few years, but it's cool to go back through and see every individual change that I made. And if there's any problems, I can go back to these individual like commits and go from there. It's really, really nice. What's a tip for a beginner, just for mentioning Pong? Yeah, besides the easy game development stuff, I really do think that version control is a big one, just because it's so easy for when you're developing a game. You'll have your game working, and it's working great. And you're playing your game, it's awesome, and then you make some changes. And you start playing your game again, and it's like, oh, those changes that I just made actually broke the game. So now what? So now you have to fix what you broke. And that's a challenge. It's sometimes when you make changes to your code and you introduce some problems, it's hard to undo those changes if you don't have version control. So like, let's say that this change right here, player idle and undo tree change, let's say that this broke the game, but I didn't keep track of what files got changed or what code lines got changed. I would have to debug the whole process to figure out what's breaking. When instead, if I have version control, I can just see this right here and I can undo this entire commit. It's very, very important. Anyone grew up with Phineas and Ferb? Yeah, I did. What's a tip? I already said that. DM me on Discord. Yeah, I'll take a look at it. Am I working in Lua professionally or some other language in my main commercially? Well, so right now, all of the code I write is just for my games and for my stuff. So I'm not employed right now. I do all my stuff on my own. I was working for Microsoft before this, but I quit. I wanted to do this full time, and I'm my own boss, and I'm doing all this off of my own savings. And so that's a big thing here, is that game development is really hard to make it like full-time professionally. So, and really right now I'm not. I'm making a little bit of money from YouTube, a little bit of money from Udemy, but I'm kind of front-loading it from savings. That's just kind of how it goes at the moment. Honestly, most of my refactoring ideas are cool, but then they don't work out. I throw them. Yeah, exactly. Like having branches to fall back to is super, super important. Because you'll be making changes, you'll be experimenting with things, and then eventually you'll reach a point where you're like, maybe all of this stuff isn't worth it. Or like, in order to make a change work, you had to like rip out a bunch of things, and you're like, oh, that was a mistake. Allfather, thank you so much for the donation. Not employed, he says, take this. Oh, well, thank you. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to like do a pity party. That was my intention. I'm doing just fine financially. Thank you so much for the donation. The donations and YouTube revenue and Udemy, that is how I'm getting by. So thank you so much for the donation. That really does make us all possible for me. But at the same time, I did go into this with the expectation that I was not going to be making any money, just because it takes a long time for a game to be created, and the game has to be good. Like, only good games make money. And I'm content with the idea, like, maybe it won't. And I'm super, super grateful for people like Allfather or anyone else who's making donations and helping me out get through the challenging parts of developments. Because it's funny, I appreciate the joke. A joke that results in me receiving $10 is a joke that gets a thumbs up from me. Are you gonna try making money out of Necro? Maybe, but I kind of like Necro just being a fun little one-off mobile game. I do, first and foremost, want to get it completed and back on the store. And I'm doing a rewrite, too, because Necrozone was one of the first Love2D games I made. I made Pong and I made Breakout, but then I made Necrozone. It was called a different name back then, but the code was so old that I'm doing a rewrite again. So, I know I keep getting procrastinated and distracted by other projects. It's classic developer mentality. Developer mentality. Yeah, the sponsors of the stream. I mean, kinda, basically. Wait, I have that game on my phone. Oh yeah. I mean, if you have Necrozone, I think it's not on the stores anymore. I was talking about this earlier in the stream, how the App Store and the Google Play Store, I think they both require a physical address, a phone number, and an email address. I think it has to have all of those displayed, and like that's a lot of personal information. Like I definitely don't want my address displayed on the Google Play Store. That's ridiculous. So I have to work on some different way to obfuscate that or change how that's displayed. my cat's over there, and she's looking at me. I think she's hungry. We got 15 more minutes of stream, and then she'll get some food. McDonald's Monday. Oh heck yes! I am so excited and so hungry. So let's see. I think that about covers what. Oh, thank goodness! I accidentally opened up OneNote. Wait, you're gonna end the stream in 15 minutes? Yeah, the stream always goes for 2 hours, from noon or from 10 a.m. my time to noon my time. Oh, I love cats. Her name is Misty. I could probably. I don't want to move if I move the camera, it's going to mess up everything. It took me a long time to get the camera set up just right. And there's a whole bunch of cords. I really need to work on my streaming setup because I've been reorganizing my room and the way that the camera is organized. It's been a lot of experimentation. And I don't want to mess things up. Also, I noticed that the music's a little bit loud. So let's see. Oh yeah, this is the Pixel 3D thing. Yeah, I like how this Pixel 3D thing works out. I think that I want to try incorporating this into Moonshire in some way or another. Like, maybe there can be... Like, when you collect an item, maybe the item can appear like this. Because I could literally just load this Pixel 3D file into Moonshire and then display 3D graphics like this over top of everything else. Because, again, this is just running in the 2D engine. It's running in the exact same engine that Moonshire is running in. Item drop on floor would look great. Sword spin. We can make it spin really fast too. Let's make it spin like. How about 10 times faster than that? Okay, that might be a little bit too fast. That actually looks kind of awesome. Loot boxes income. I mean, maybe. Probably not. Probably not gonna do that. That would be a really cool loot box effect. I like that idea. ADHD trap. Yeah, looking for the good drops. Glitching chair be like, yeah, basically. But yeah, I was thinking something like, maybe if there was like a bestiary where it showed enemy sprites, we could show enemy sprites in 3D, or if there was an item display. Allfather, thank you so much. It's on the App Store. I just downloaded it. Awesome, that's cool. I think that it's banned, or I think that it's been taken down in certain regions. I think that it's mainly a Europe thing because Europe has really good and progressive rules on like online regulation with apps and stuff, but sometimes they're a little bit strict and hard to follow. So, you know, that's why like in some regions it might not be there. It's not on the Google Play Store. That makes sense. Yeah, it's been changing, and you know, I've talked before how getting an app on the App Store and the Google Play Store is just genuinely really challenging because the requirements change all the time. You have to have your APIs updated. You have to make sure that you're doing regular releases on a regular basis and making sure that your code is up to date because they keep security on lockdown on the App Store and Google Play Store. They make sure that everything is by their standards, no exceptions. It's crazy. I'm happy for it, but it makes my job much harder because the standards and the rules and regulations are so intense that getting something up there and keeping it up there is pretty tough. It's hard. Did you find cool tricks that messed up SMB1's athletic platforms? Oh, Wolf has all kinds of SMB1 tricks. The Google Play Store, yeah, I was about to say the up-to-date requirements are super annoying. Well, close your developer account if it's active for 2 minutes. Yeah, exactly. Necrozone got taken down before. This isn't the first time it got taken down. I've had to re-upload it in the past. And actually, I rebranded it. It used to be under a different name entirely. It's probably good for security. They do it for a reason, and that's why I'm patient with it. I don't like it. It's annoying to work with, but they wouldn't do it if it wasn't fully required. So I understand that there's some necessary evils and some necessary challenges that we have to deal with once in a while. Yeah, Wolf has a lot of good videos on our channel that show the speedrunning stuff. So let's go back to Moonshire for the end of the stream. Actually, let me do this off. Awesome stream as always. Thank you, just in case. There we go. Do you have a reason for naming her Misty? No. Well, so we got her when I was a kid. I was probably like 10 years old or something. So she was like a family cat, and now she lives with me in my apartment. But my sister named her Misty. And I don't know specifically. Maybe we were influenced by Pokemon. Maybe because we were Pokemon fans back then, and we watched the show. So maybe we subconsciously thought, oh, Misty, that's like from the show. But I didn't specifically do that. We also had a cat named Fancy, and I think that again subconsciously we named her Fancy after the Fancy Feast food. Shame that Apple still lets annoying ad-ridden mobile games stay up, but not ones made with care. It's that line, right? Is that they have rules. And I bet those games that are ad-ridden and awful are not breaking the rules. They're just pushing the boundary as much as they can. And that's always how you min-max the system, is you push the boundary as much as you can up until the point of getting banned, but don't get banned, right? So that's what those companies are doing, is they're doing the most like manipulative and brutal practices because that's what makes money for them. And it's up to the point that Apple won't ban them, but it's still scummy and annoying. Lovekin 3D, yeah, you can render 3D effects in Love 2D. I have to wait for another week when you end the stream. For what specifically? Are you talking about the sunscreen change? Sorry, what specifically are you asking about? I think I have to wait for another week when the stream is done. I'm not sure exactly what you're referring to. I'm rewatching the Indigo League. I miss Ash and Pikachu. I haven't seen the show since I was a kid. I really should rewatch it to see what it's like. I remember at the time, though, I remember being frustrated that a lot of the episodes had filler, where it's like, I love the Pokemon battles, but a lot of episodes just didn't have Pokemon battles. And I remember that being annoying to me. I mean, for the next Moonshire Monday, yeah. I only stream on Mondays, same time, same week, or same time every week. I'm glad I was able to fix that crash, or not the crash, the flashing issue with the vines, because I remember us looking at that before, and it makes sense now why I was having so much trouble with it, is that I had that dumb default draw function. I still think this is dumb, by the way, but at least now, the only place that anim draw... I think that I want to get rid of this. I think I'm gonna get rid of a lot of these, because this is all very, very old stuff. Shock. I don't know what shock is. I think I have to keep that. This is lightning. I need to keep that too, because I'm still using that one. Oh, this is still lightning. Bar lightning. Bar lighting is a blockade. I am still using that too. And then this one is I can get rid of this one. I should go through all of these and just delete a whole bunch of these. I bet that a bunch of these can be deleted very safely. How long do you think it takes for Moonshire to be ready for another playable demo? I wish I had an idea. I mean, I don't know. I feel like I'm almost going backwards with progress because I keep changing the requirements. Like, right now in my mind, it's a couple months away, but I've been saying that for so long, so I don't really know. Yeah, I'm sorry, I wish I had more concrete timeline, but I keep making false promises and things keep changing a lot. So the game works just fine after I deleted those. Let's delete a bunch more, because like I said, this is super old code, and a lot of these aren't being used. Like, these are the effects for when you slice your sword, and when you stab, it has like a little like stab effect. This is old stuff. Explosion, this is old. This is not used anymore. New explosion, this is old, not used anymore. Electric hit, I don't know what this is. Let's see. Come on. This is nowhere in the game. I'm gonna delete it. I don't. What the small tiny shock is what this is called. I'll keep that one. Small tiny. That one's in there. Poison smoke is in there. Shrinking shadow. I don't know what this is. This is not used in the game. I'm gonna delete it. Item fall. I don't think this is in the game. Oh, this is in the game. Tiny fall. Shock. I think that's used. Rock spike. I don't know what this is. Oh, look, this is from the golem. Wow, this is really old. I think I'm gonna get rid of rock spike. I forgot about that completely. Exclamation, that's in the game still. Player fall is in the game. I think. Player fall entrance. Oh yeah, I remember that too. I think this is different though. Yeah, this isn't right. It's a little bit different. I don't think this is used anymore, but I'm gonna keep it just in case. That small tiny shock might be for the one boss you first see. It's for when you certain projectiles have like a little sparkly effect, and it was for that. For game over text, I don't think this text is not used anymore. I think. Oh yeah, it's not. Tutorial is. Spin slice. This isn't used, but I'm gonna keep it just in case I'm gonna bring it back. Heal, minor heal. Those are both needed. Heal wind. Yeah, lightning is needed. A good way to clean up a lot of if statements like this is to make a map of keys. You're right. So the thing is, this file, I think I made it 5 years ago. So this is a 5-year-old file, and I'm completely with you. There's a lot of this format of like if statements changing the properties, not good. I would completely redo this today, but it's so ingrained in the project that I'm not really at the point where I want to go through that yet. Ground ice 3. I don't think this is a thing anymore. I don't remember this. Yeah, nothing's calling it. Ice blast. I don't know what this is either. This might be like the player's ice spell that he used to have. It's not in the game. Goodbye. Fire ring. I think this is not in the game either. Never mind, someone beat me to it. What age rating would Moonshire be? Oh, definitely for everyone. I don't think anything about it it's just cartoon violence is the only thing. Firing is not being used. Let's get rid of this. Sync is being used. Ripple is used. HUD flash is used. I think. Is this being used? No, it's not. It's not being used. Okay. Rain Ripple, we were just using that. Use more than one canvas in my game. I think I only just used the one. Spark, Scorch is used. Triangle Scorch. I don't think this is used anymore. People who played old versions of the game might remember when there was a fire spell that was like a cone. It was like a cone fire spell. This is from like 4 or 5 years ago. But that's what this triangle scourge is from. It's not in the game anymore. Yeah, that's really old. Wave is not in the game anymore. This is when like the water was just like a solid blue. It was like just solid blue, and they would spawn like wave effects in the middle of it. But this definitely is not in the game anymore. Small smoke. This is not in the game. Delete. Oh, this is the most satisfying thing, isn't it? Just deleting a bunch of stuff. Chimney. Chimney is in the game. Source is in the game. Sunflower grow, yes. Leaves, yeah, I'll keep that. Yeah. Sparkle. I think a lot of these are still going to be, because these are more recent ones. Magic explosion, enemy spawn. This is not in the game anymore because I got rid of this. Yeah, this is an old one. I'm gonna get rid of this completely. Spawn magic is fine. Spike fine. We were just working with arrow trail. Wow, guys, I made like. This is when the game was like that old sprite of the main character when you could only walk in the up, left, right, and down directions, like from the diagonal movement video. But there was a bow and arrow, and it had like this trailing effect on it. Very old. Arrow buried. I forgot about that. That was a good one. Arrows used to be able to like bury into the ground when they landed. It was cool. Death. We'll keep that. Eye death. Bat death. These are not real anymore. Getting rid of these. Fuse smoke. I think I keep that. Steam blobs. I think I keep that too. Let me turn the volume down. Will bow ever be brought back? I would redo it as like a pick-upable weapon. I think so. I would try to like make it so the bow is like a new ranged weapon, but try to balance it so it's not OP. I like the bow. I remember that a lot. Walk Dust is in the game. Damage Heart is in the game. Cloud Shadow. I haven't used Cloud Shadow in a while, but I'm going to keep it. Rain. Petal. This is in the game. Step Snow is in the game. Horizontal. I don't know what this is. Oh, petals. Oh, that's confusing. Snow. Yeah, I think all the rest is going to be good. Intro. Yeah, no. This is not in the game. Oh, it is. It is. That's from that little cutscene. I need to keep that. Ember. I don't know what this is. Infinite arrow. It would be infinite arrows. It's just I would worry that being able to shoot at a distance might break the combat. It might be too good. Kind of like how the boomerang is OP, and I need to balance that a little bit better. I would imagine that the bow would be similar. Fireball smoke. I don't think this is in the game. I don't think this is in the game either. Yeah, neither of these are. Enemy Ember. Nope, not in the game. Dark Magic Spec. I don't know what this is. It's probably not in the game either. I'm gonna get rid of Dark Magic. We don't need it. Damage, not the damage number, this is the effect. Okay, we're gonna keep that then. Okay. Man, that cleaned up this file a lot. Oh my gosh, I wonder how many lines I got rid of. That's a lot of code that I got rid of. Yeah, I got rid of 500 lines. This file went from 1900 to 1400. I got rid of over 500 lines. Do you use more than one canvas in the game? I already said no, I did not use. I think it's just the one. There's so many lines in this, I know. So this effect file, like I said, is not organized well. And I tried to reorganize it again in Effect 2. This file is still really big too. It's not as big. But what makes this file better is that it leverages custom logic a little bit better. So it is still a bunch of if statements that I should redo this to be a little bit better. But it doesn't have a bunch of custom functions. The effect file, this one, has a bunch of custom functions. And that's what makes like all of this stuff so big, is that there's all these custom functions built into each effect. And then you have to copy and paste them a bunch of places. Whereas Effect 2 is much more organized, where the different functions are like part of the different classes and stuff. It's way better. Does it bother you to use magic strings? Use magic strings. I'm not exactly sure what you mean by magic strings. The stream's been going for 2 hours. Yep, I'm about to cut it for the day. I'm just wrapping things up because I just got rid of a whole bunch of cool stuff. So let me make sure that the game runs. Looking good. So I'm going to go ahead and commit that. Remove unused effects. There we go. Okay, how do you start making devlogs? I mean, I started like, man, I have the channel on YouTube, the Game Maker Crab channel when I was a kid. So, I mean, you just have to start making them and start posting them and accept that they won't be very good at first. Making videos is like game development where there's a lot of skills that go into it. And it takes time before you get good at it. You'll pick up on like the tricks of how to do good voiceover, how to capture video properly, how to get good audio, and what makes a good entertaining video. It takes a long time to pick up on all those skills. So just be prepared that like it might not be good right away, and be patient. Give it a year or two of making videos, and that's what I would recommend. He was asking if I was asking more than one canvas. Yeah, and I answered it. I only use the one. So the canvas thing is like with Love 2D or a lot of game engines, you can use multiple canvases where you render different parts of the frame in different batches. But I think in my case, I only do the one. Maybe there's parts that use a different... there might be parts that use a different canvas for shaders or maybe for the camera. Maybe hump camera. Maybe this uses a canvas. I bet it does, if I had to guess. It does not. What about cam? No. So I think it is just the one. I think it's just the one. What is it with the multiple canvases obsession here? Well, I mean, no, it's just that someone was asking about it. Specifically for YouTube is an entire art. Like, everything takes a bunch of trial and error. Exactly. Is that you have to be prepared to like get used to all the challenges, and like you'll post a video and you'll realize, oh, maybe it would have been better if I did this and this, and then the next video you can try it. Like every video that you make is going to be a little bit better than the last one, but it's still like you're going to start off and it's going to be pretty rough at first. It takes a lot of time to get you good at it. Okay, but on that note, I'm going to call it quits for the day. I am ready to go get my food. It is McDonald's Monday, just like it's Moonshire Monday. But thank you all so much for being here. It was a very, very good stream. Thank you so much for joining. JJK, the best to watch people with this, who do the same you want to do. Yeah, absolutely. Like, I watch a lot of game dev channels, and it's given me a lot of inspiration to how to handle things. When I get back to making full videos, I think I'm going to leverage the stream a little bit more, and I'm going to use a bit more IRL footage, because I've been having a lot of fun with filming things IRL like that. But thank you so much for everyone joining the stream today. It was a really good turnout. Thank you, Wolf, Saba, Bahadir, Cirx, Alex, Penguin, Elijah, Butteriffy, JJK, Nuss, Nick, and Sophie, Alex, Bellcat. My name is Yogi. Thank you so much for being here, and I will be back next week for yet another Moonshire Monday. Thanks, everyone. Bye.